I'm a yoga instructor, and so I talk to a lot of people. And to me, yoga isn't about just the movement. It's about the looking in. It's about how you live your life. So all the 8 limbs, the yamas and the niyamas, all the way down to finding your bliss. And when I started looking at this S.U.R.F method of helping you transform your life, just like in surfing, how do I go forward? There we go. Oh, they didn't update my slides. Okay, that's okay. Just like in surfing, we'll go with it. It builds resilience and adaptability. And that's sort of what I was thinking about, because earlier this year I actually got to go to Panama, and they do a lot of surfing there, so I was practicing, and it made you realize that there's a lot of waves that come your way. There's a lot of things that can throw you off balance. So as you are moving through your life, understanding what that may mean. And what I started thinking about is transformations are big. And 2 years ago, I took a program in helping people navigate through major life transitions. And in this, it made me realize the number of transitions I've gone to. So I'd like for you just to take a moment and think about what are the changes and the transformations and the transitions you've had today, this week, this month, this quarter, this year. There's probably a lot of them. Just think about inhaling and exhaling. And the biggest thing is we kind of forget about that transition between the inhale and the exhale, and between the exhale and the inhale. And that's where we can have our greatest victories, but also our greatest risks, if we're not being intentional as we're navigating those transitions. In yoga, that's where you can have your most injuries, if you're not being cautious in how you're moving. So understanding what that means to you. So in every transition, there's an ending, a middle, and a beginning. And this ending is this time when you need to say, something is coming to end. Whether you're leaving a job, your children are beginning to leave the nest and you don't know who you are or what you're going to be. Understanding what is this ending for you and what do you need to do to let that go, to honor you so that you can show up the way you want to show up. The middle, sometimes it's called the messy middle, because as we move from one point to the next, we want it to be a straight line, but frequently it looks like 1 step forward and 3 steps back. And we might not get to B, but we might get to M or Z, and hopefully that's more authentic for you. And then the new beginning, and this is when you take on that new frame. Maybe it's the old, you left one job and you're moving on to another, or maybe you've retired and now you're in complete control of your schedule and how you want to live your life. And hopefully it's more than just sitting on the couch. So I encourage people to age boldly by living the life that they want. So as you begin that new step, really honoring who you are.
Move to the right.
Sorry.
So we get on the camera.
Thank you. You said there and then I'm standing there. Don't pay attention. Okay. So my S.U.R.F method is 4 main steps. And the first is saying goodbye. And what does that mean to you as you say goodbye? And first, as you begin to say goodbye, is thinking about your journey. I ran a, before the U.S. government imploded recently, I was actually running for a couple of years a pre-retirement coaching. So it was focusing on the employees as they were preparing to retire, about who they were and how they were working and showing up in the workforce. And I had them document their career journey and the highs and the lows, and what did they learn from it? What were the gratitudes of that journey? What did they need to do as they were preparing to say goodbye? And this journey here of the S.U.R.F method can be used for that ending, the middle, or the beginning. And as the individuals explored them in their space, some of them said, oh, well, I don't have anything I need to leave. But then when they started to think about it, they're like, you know, I've been the person who's been in charge of this for the last 30 years. So maybe I need to do some sharing so that someone else who takes over can do their job and take over for me. And then what are the attachments you need to release? So when you say goodbye, this is an opportunity for you to actually do something to honor your transition. I've had some clients who have actually chosen to do a ritual by water where they do, like, go in and they say, here I am, go into a pool of water and physically kind of wash themselves, then come out. I've had some people who have an image, an icon that they say, this is who I was in this job, and they destroy it and they build something new. So figuring out what is a ritual as you're saying goodbye, whether it's for that ending, the middle, and the beginning, because all of these are part of that transition. Understanding who you are in this time. And this is where, as many of you have already talked about today, is that understanding about you, your perspective, your beliefs, everything that comes up for you as you are in this particular phase. The other one is, as you start to change, you never know who is around you. And when you change, other people have to change. And so sometimes they don't want to change, and you might have that resistance. So just being aware of what might be the resistance that they are experiencing and how is it showing up in their interactions with you. Sometimes you have to let people be themselves, but you, as we've talked about, understanding in ourselves, our bellies, our chest, our shoulders, if someone's responding to us in a way, what are we taking on from that? Because our energy gets shared of how we show up. Then I talk about reframing. How many of you have these stories in your head? And it's whatever your story is. And that might be the story that's keeping you back. It might be the story that's putting you forward. When you take your story and you break it down, here are the facts of the story, and here's what I'm telling myself. And when I tell my people, here, write out what your story is right now. And now let's look at the facts, let's look at the story and how you're interpreting it. And let's reframe that story so it's more honest to you. And I encourage each of you to do this activity. I actually have a box for you to write your story, lines for your fact versus your the story you tell yourself, and then rewriting your story so that you can, because when you can envision that new story, you can start to live it. And then the other thing is, I've had people who are facing challenges. I had one client, and she was going to go to a concert, and she had bought tickets for her and someone else, and then she decided at the last minute the other person couldn't go. And so she's reaching around trying to find someone to go to this concert with her, and then decided not to go. And I'm like, goodness gracious, how many times have I not done something because of me? Because I said I can't. So I started doing challenges, and part of that was like coming over here. I got an invitation like 3 years ago to come to Lisbon to meet with my mastermind group, and I was too afraid to come. I did not show up. They brought me in virtually, so I still participated, but I didn't come here because I kept myself back. And just as this person wouldn't go to a concert by herself, I wouldn't come and meet friends in 3D. And so I've been challenging people and setting up challenges to get them, where are you limiting yourself? And it's not about taking the leaps, it's about the steps, the little steps that get you there, so that you can become a better leader, so that you can live your best life. Because this is the only life we get. And if we waste it, we're the only ones to blame. And then the F is the follow through. And this is the action. Because you know, if you do not have a plan, you don't get anywhere. So an idea without action is a dream. An idea with an action and the bold steps, the plan and the steps becomes a reality. Again, it might not be B, it might be Z, it might be something else completely different. But navigating that plan and saying, I can go this way in my path. But then, you might go, I'm going this way. You don't have to stay on that path if it's not right for you. You can divert. You can make your own path. You can design what you want if you're willing to take the steps to explore and realize, I'm going to take actions. And this is kind of what you're saying, getting fun with the failure and the uncertainty and continuing to adapt and building your resilience. So I want to tell you about Sarah. Sarah was one of my clients, and she worked like 12-hour days, 6-7 days a week. She worked all the time. And as she was in this retirement program, she started telling me, I can't retire. I don't have a life outside of work. I don't have family. I don't have a lot of friends. All I do is work. And so we started building a plan. What were the activities that she was doing? And she started cutting some of those. And she realized, I can let stuff go. And she's like, I can retire. I can be different. And when she did, she's like, I want to walk the El Camino. Do you know what I learned yesterday? The El Camino starts here in Porto. I found the sign that starts I didn't realize that until I was on a tour yesterday. And they're like, yeah, this is the start of the El Camino. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm talking about that tomorrow. She also wanted to learn to play the drums, not the set of drums up front, but she said it was a frame drum. It was a round drum you kind of hold in your hand because that was the traditional feminine symbol for women. And so she wanted to learn that type of drum. So she took a class, she joined a drum circle so that she could practice. And she also wanted to learn about her authentic self. And so she went on an exploration. It's meditation, it's journaling, it is the showing up, the challenge, it is being your best self. So, in conclusion, this S.U.R.F method can be used again for endings, middles, and beginnings. As you say goodbye, understand what you're saying goodbye to from a personal and professional perspective so that you can live your best life. Understand who you are and the reality of the situation. It might be organizational, it might be cultural. There's a lot of things that you can understand, but being realistic in the understanding and also looking at you and saying, how am I contributing to this situation that I'm in? And being honest with what you are perceiving. Reframe, and this is where you're reframing all of your life. Whether it's the story, because the neurobiology tells us that we have emotions that are 90 seconds, but we keep that emotion by adding the story to it. So how are you interpreting your story? And then the follow through are the actions that you want to take, making them not outrageous. Because if you say, I want to climb Mount Everest, and you're sitting on the couch every day, all the time, it's not realistic and your brain isn't going to let you get there. But if you're sitting on the couch every day, maybe it's getting out of your house and going for a 2-minute walk. Maybe it's just walking around, taking the small steps that allow you to get to where you want to go so that you can show up the way you want to show up. And invite those transitions in so you can live your best life. Well, I guess you don't get to hear about me, but my name is Sandra Menzies, and I am here, and I'll have questions if anyone has them.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandra.